Hello. Yep, you can hear me. Hello, everybody. We're going to give people a few minutes to filter in, but I'm probably going to be starting here in about a minute or so. This is the market wrap a little bit earlier today than usual, but it's a Friday and it's late, and I want to get things out the door, so I thought I'd do this market wrap early. Hope that you all find it useful. If you are watching this on YouTube, please hit the like button and hit subscribe. Appreciate it. For those of you in the Discord chat or Telegram or Premium channel, let me know if you have any questions. I know that we have some swing trades that I'm sure that you all want to talk about, so we'll get into it here very, very shortly. Let me set up my charts because we're going to go over the dollar first. And the dollar actually has had some very good action. It's been very interesting. We've been back and forth. Let me kind of share this with you. All right. So what you can see with the dollar is that the dollar is still in an uptrend. However, it has over the last month, really since the middle of April, been selling off. And, I think that a couple of critical points here is that, we're seeing continued strength in the dollar really from the beginning of the year. That still is in play. We're still seeing strength even with the weakness that we've had over the last 5 or 6 days. Yesterday and today were relatively strong. What you'll notice is that we have been rallying off of this trend line, and that provides a bit of a headwind to anything denominated in dollars. So think oil, gold, and silver and stocks. But you'll tell me that they're all rallying, and yes, they are. It's just that they happen to be a bit stronger than the dollar, but the dollar definitely is acting as a bit of an anchor, and we saw that quite a bit today with regards to the DXY. And when it was strong, gold was a little weak. When it backed off, gold took off, and so you'll see that. So the dollar still, as long as it stays in this trend, the dollar still has a higher trend to possibly go. 107.50 is still a potential target on the dollar. And that can, frankly, put a crimp in anything denominated in dollars. So do look at your trades going forward, especially if you see this dollar start to rally. But I do want to talk about oil. And I think that the interesting thing is that we have seen oil kind of buck the trend. A little stronger dollar has actually helped oil. I don't know if that's just part of what's going on in terms of the U.S. becoming an oil-producing state and drilling quite a bit. But ordinarily, higher dollar would mean lower oil. That hasn't been the case. Last couple of days, we've had higher dollar. We've also had higher oil. And what you'll see here on the 15-minute chart is that from the bottom, we are trading a 15-minute fib long that actually has an objective up at 80.61. Let me give you some additional context. We have been in a bit of a downtrend here in the dollar, and so we are looking for, frankly, a bit of a retrace and a retracement, frankly, up to the 80.88 to 83.46 level. That's where I'd really like to redo the short. That is a good level in my mind. There's a pretty good trend up there, or downtrend, that I think you could take out. 80.88 is very frankly doable. It's just a day's worth of rally in oil, and we actually have had 3 strong days in oil. So we tested the 76.70 level, rallied up, and we're probably going to test these bear fibs next week. Going into gold, gold has had a very strong day in the gold market. But what you'll notice is that we have been trading a series of longs. And I'm going to bring it down to maybe an hourly chart so that you can see it. From our May lows, the first halfway back short that we trade, or halfway back long that we traded to its objective. We're going to draw another halfway back long from this peak to here, and we've traded its support and traded to its objective, literally touching it to the pip. And then from this level here, we traded another long. Now, this long, interestingly, only stopped at the 38.2% line, so it was extremely bullish, and you'll notice that we've traded its objective. Really, 1, 2, 3 series of Fibonacci longs in gold, and gold's added again. It is getting some additional strength here. Historically, though, gold should, if it follows its series trend, actually trade from here to its objective. So we do have a little bit of a retrace potentially in gold. Not much, but maybe down to the 23.99 level, 23.93 level. So that would be something to be looking out for on Monday on the reopen. Here in silver just keeps going up. We've had really a pretty strong market. Which remember, yesterday I had mentioned that we were basically at a resistance level. This band here goes all the way back on the daily chart to the highs back in 2020 and 2021. And what you'll notice is that instead of selling off like we did last month, we actually powered through it, got to the high. We had a doji day, which might be a little tough to see given the fibs that are there. We had a doji day, but then we rocketed through it. Now, looking at it on the intraday, we are trading an extension, and we actually have blown through that extension. So what I tend to look at is if a Fibonacci extension happens when you don't have a normal retracement. And so what you're looking for is a high to high, and then you're trying to find a fib level that can serve as support. And we did. We found it at this 29.55 level, and we have been up ever since. We're trading through this extension and to the point where we're going to end up going to here. And just it's just been crazy. So silver is doing extremely well. Is there going to be a top in the silver market anytime soon? Not at this point. Very, very bullish, and I think that you could say though that we are probably at an overbought level. It's hard to be a buyer here, and certainly when you look at it on the daily charts. Today was a bust out day, but you're above the Bollinger Band on a daily, and that's usually the time to take profit and see what happens. We have not been embedded, so we'll see if this market gets embedded and ends up having higher and higher days. But this was truly a breakout of epic proportions. Again, notice we stopped a little bit over the last couple of days trying to build that base, and it looked like we built it over that last 2-day time frame, and ultimately broke out today with a lot of vigor. And then we've got after silver, we've got stocks, and so we have traded our short again, and I want to take you through these stock setups because actually it's very interesting. Our stocks setups are today on Friday. We're very reminiscent to the setups that we had yesterday at about this time. And so yesterday at about this time we actually had stocks at this level here, and this is a Fibonacci level. The golden zone for Fibonacci is between 50 and 61.8%, and we actually traded that level here on the Dow Industrial Average Futures called YM, and we sold yesterday at this 40,110. We watched it drop, and we actually took our profits at our objective 39,966. So we did quite well, about 200 points. So that's about $1,000 per contract, and that was good. We only had our stop up here, so we only had about 400 in risk on. So we were 5-to-1 reward to risk. What you'll notice is that essentially the same setup has occurred from our highs to the lows. We had a 50 to 61.8% line set up. We also took that earlier this afternoon at about this 1:35 time frame. I think that I had called it around 40,073. We actually added a couple here earlier, but we ended up hitting it. As you can see, the stocks are still in, frankly, more of a downtrend. This is the beginning of what I think is an extended period of downtrend. We'll look at it on the daily chart just to give you some perspective. But when you see the dailies, we're obviously at a high. And the real question is, can we get beyond the high knowing that where we're at in the calendar? We're in March, and March is, or not March, we're in May. Sell in May and go away is the key. And when you look at the price action, this is pretty much what we're trying to do here. The price action has not necessarily been very bullish at this high level. We did break into this about 3 days ago. We've been chopping around ever since. We created a doji, potentially creating another doji. And yes, it could be like silver, it could break out, but there's a good chance that it could also just sell off, and that wouldn't be very surprising here. So recognize that the intraday Fibonacci levels are pointing to this lower. We haven't seen that on the daily chart yet, but that is seemingly what's happening in stocks. So let's take a look at some other indices. And you can see here, this is the YM futures, and or not YM, ES, S&P 500 futures. And we had a series of intraday longs that took us up to this level. And what you'll find is that those intraday longs actually broke. These longs started out Tuesday, May 14th. So it wasn't that far away. It was only 4 days ago. And, we had a series of longs that took us right into these highs. The issue is that we broke these longs, and we actually broke this long right here. And so I'm going to get rid of all these longs, because once we got through this level, it has turned me negative, and it's frankly turned the stock market negative. So you can see, and I'm going to pull off all of these, you can actually see how we started trading lower from that break. We broke this level here, and then from these highs, we've had a repeated number of halfway back shorts that have traded. Here's one, and that trades. Here's the second one, and that pierced the 61.8, but it doesn't have to be extremely technical. It just has to make sure that you can close it and get the direction right, and the direction was. And then we have had another short from highs here that actually just hit its objective. So we've gone through a series now of 3 short setups, and it's been working. We literally just traded this objective here on ES at 2:15 this afternoon. Again, once you know what's going on with the Dow and the ES, the NASDAQ follows a very similar pattern. The NASDAQ actually has traded, it's all the way halfway back short. So you can see this setup here was trading perfectly. Yes, we ran it up just like the other markets, but this setup overnight traded once here and then sold off, but we did not get to the we actually didn't make it to its objective, so we ended up going back up and doing this all over again. There's it trading that's halfway back short, also within a channel. And then you can see just a pretty dramatic sell-off. Sure, there were lots of people buying, but at the end of the day, each high got lower and lower and lower on a 15-minute time frame. So it was destined to sell off. And what you'll notice is that we've actually sold off pretty significantly here over the last 40 minutes or so. We have hit that objective. Yes, there is probably another. There will be another short. Probably trading it. We'll probably trade it soon. All that being said, it is a. It will be a short that, frankly, is going to just make it up to these the series level, because it doesn't have to trade this halfway back anymore. Now we can trade the series, so we'll be looking for shorts here in NASDAQ. Now, the interesting thing is, what has this done to Bitcoin? And Bitcoin actually has traded outside of its short, but it is still technically, believe it or not, in shorts. And let me go through this draw with you on Bitcoin, because it's really interesting. We've been locked in a battle between shorts and longs. This is what's known as an extension long, and this Fibonacci level starts at this peak here, and we take it to the top, a highs to highs extension. And what you'll notice is that we actually traded support once and twice, and on a daily basis. The third time we pierced it, but we only closed below it once, and then we rallied. And we've actually used this level 64,000 or 61,458 a number of times as support. With the rise in the stock market, we had Bitcoin rallying, and it looked like it was going to bust the short. Our short from this high here, and actually I'll do it through here because this is probably more representative. Our short from this high here has actually held once and twice. So the market's been pretty range bound, continues to be. We're looking for some sort of definitive move either to the upside or above this short, or downside below this short. And right now we're not getting it. Even with today's price action that's bearish in stocks, one would think Bitcoin should sell off, and it hasn't. So that is interesting, something to keep an eye on. We did pierce the short, but we did not break it, and so that is something for us to look at. And that is that's our market wrap for pretty much today. I do have one question. Somebody wanted to know what I thought of taking a short here in Bitcoin, and we had done so. We actually had done so in earlier this late in April, early May, up here on the second test of this short level. We ran it down. We were able to hold most of our profits, because I do have a profit stop that you should follow. And the fact is, though, we are in, frankly, some bullish territory, even though we're still in a bear setup. And this bullish territory is the fact that this bull fib, and I'm going to delete the short so you have it, is actually holding from these lows. We held support here at the 61.8% line. We nearly traded to the objective. Frankly, I think what we did. So ultimately, I think that Bitcoin is bullish. And if the NASDAQ turns around, it'll be really bullish. So that would mean that this 71,194 becomes its objective. And we've got some objectives that could be the top of this balance range, and ultimately extend higher to 79,724. So that is the bull case for Bitcoin. It has fluctuated between bear and bull for quite a while. One other thing, another question here is in terms of stocks, where are we right now? So let me share with you what we're currently looking at. We are short on the E-mini futures, the Dow, and we continue to be. We think that it's we think you can continue to hold the short. Our average price is going to be somewhere around that 40,072 area. Yes, there has been buyers at these bottoms, but frankly, we have not come close to getting near our highs. And so I do think that this is an opportunity to watch the market turn. We have indicators that we follow, that we utilize intraday to help us determine it. But I'll share this with you. We actually were really looking at a couple of things. One, notice the balance range, which is the 1 hour after market open between 9:30 and 10:30 a.m. We have basically been trading within that balance range. When we peaked outside of the balance range for about an hour earlier in the afternoon, that's when we frankly pounced on it and took advantage. Yes, we've been selling up here at this 40,044 level, but we ended up averaging and scaling in. So I think our average is closer to 40,072. It came close to our objective, didn't quite hit it. Our goal, frankly, is still to see that objective trade. You're going to also notice that there is a bigger objective down here, 39,898. So eventually we think that will trade. It's a Friday, it's a range day, and so unfortunately for us, the range happened to be, we might have missed the range by 3 or 4 points on the downside, which is unfortunate, but it's going to happen. It's trading, so we're still very short stocks, and especially the Dow. We do think that there's going to be other short opportunities. Again, this is not the end of the trend, and some bulls might actually say this is more of a flag pattern, and I would say that relatively speaking, the last 2 days have actually shown that this market can sell off. It will sell off, and we'll see what happens come next week. Next week will be the moment of truth, because there will be, I think, a fib level that the bulls will absolutely have to defend, and you're actually starting to see what that may look like here in the Nasdaq. Nasdaq has to defend this fib level for the bulls market to rally, and if it does not on a daily basis, this 2086.9, that would frankly cause a lot of folks to consider this whole setup up here a top, and to sell in May and go away. So that's what we'll be looking at. That's all I've got for today. If you are watching us on YouTube, please hit the like or subscribe button. If you're part of the Discord community, happy to have you with us. I know it's earlier than normal, but I wanted to get this out and get this in your hands so that you have it. I'll have a full market wrap up for all of these futures instruments actually over the course of Saturday and Sunday. So if you're on the Discord or the Telegram, check those out, and we'll see you bright and early on Monday.